Texans on Mission has been responding to the Texas Hill Country flood since July 5th of last year continuously. We were with families when they found out the fate of their children. We were there to pray with them, to be with them, to comfort them. We've cleaned out a multitude of flooded homes, and we have started rebuilding and continue to rebuild homes ever since then. And so I was literally with homes yesterday at every stage of the process. Some folks who have yet to get help, and we are starting to help now. Some projects that are about midway through rebuilding. And I was in a home yesterday with a wonderful couple who we tore all the stuff out, and now we have completely rebuilt their home and made their not only just rebuilt their house, but made it a true home. They are living there. They are thriving and doing well. And so in the Hill Country area in Kirk County and the surrounding areas, you'll find people still at every stage of the process. And we just continue walking alongside people. Wherever they are, we meet them and we meet their needs and strive to push forward. We're 100% donation based. And so folks give out of the generosity of their hearts, especially Texans. When something happens, Texans want to do something, and they either want to go or they want to give. And so we're very fortunate to have a lot of folks who want to do both. And so that's what we do. And then we strive to bring partners together on the ground. After a disaster happens, you can imagine it is chaos. Folks coming in from all over the place, meaning well, you got supplies coming everywhere. And then you start getting disjointed situations, right? People wanting to do things, but there's no collaboration. When we come in, we're able to bring some order out of the chaos. We're able to bring partners to the table. And so let me give you just one small example of what that really means on a practical level. So yesterday, I'm standing with a mother, her two small children. One is 3, one is 6. Their home is literally right on the Guadalupe River. And so the floods happen. It literally knocks her home off of the foundation. It is sitting in her yard off the foundation. And like most people in Kirk County, like most Texans would do, rather than worrying about her house, she starts helping her friends and her family and her neighbors. And she does this for days upon days. Weeks go by, months go by. She sees all of these other folks getting help. And she looks at me and she goes, I thought everyone had forgotten me. Like she'd gotten no help. I thought everyone had forgotten me. And so she ends up connecting with our site coordinator in Kirk County. We walk her through the process. We listen to her story. We say, okay, I think we can help you out. Let's see what we can do. And then we start talking to other partners. Once we give a yes, that means we're gonna have people on the ground doing the work. And so we can bring other financial partners to the table and say, can we all work together for a major rebuild project? Because reconstructing a home is a major, major effort. I mean, anybody who's gone through a remodel knows that. And we're not just remodeling, we're building the whole thing. I mean, there's literally a slab there. That's it. And
I
so
think I was at the same location. I don't think there's a way, maybe there's a way to confirm, but yeah, there's like a slab of home and some construction has already started just on the beams overall and the
that
structure of the
I
foundation.
can almost guarantee you were at this house. This is
Okay.
this you were probably at Tris's house.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah, that's her name. That is her
okay,
name.
yeah, yeah.
I forgot her name until you just said it. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and Trish is out. She's outstanding. But because we were able to say yes, step out because of the generosity and the support that we have. We were able to say yes, and our yes multiplies upon across the community, so that Trissa, who had not gotten any other help, we were able to multiply and make something happen. And so now in the next few months, her home will go up. The foundation was starting to get laid just yesterday, I think. And so we're making progress now. We're happy about that. Sitting there playing with her son, digging through the dirt, doing what 6 year olds do. Just seeing hope on her face and their face one more time when they thought they'd been forgotten. I mean, That's what it's all about. We're here to meet needs, share God's love, and so it's transformational for families like Triss's. It's transformation for the Dossies. It's these are our friends, these are our neighbors, and by the end of our project, they are family. And so that's what we're doing. We've served literally tens of thousands of hours in the Hill Country. There are still many, many more people who need help. And in fact, we just decided, our initial commitment was to do a year. And so we look at the situation now. We're going even further. We've re-upped for another year. We need volunteer teams who would want to come down to the Hill Country, whether that's a youth group or a company or an organization. You don't need skills. You've got them. That's great. You can make a huge difference. But if you don't, we'll teach you some skills. In fact, one of the things that we have ready to go as soon as the foundation on Teresa's house is ready, we need a framing team. We've got framers already kind of lined up, but we need additional framers. Let's put this thing up in the air. This is a long-term disaster. I know folks think something like this happens, and then it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. That disaster is done. But a year later, there's still a lot of people hurting. A lot of people who are looking for help, needing help. Um, and so that's the gap that we try to stand in. That's what Texans do together. That's what the Bible tells us to do, is to care for our neighbor. And so that's what we're trying to do, and we'll keep doing that for a long, long time. It feels like there's two different things going on. There are some folks who, yes, it looks exactly like it did on July the 5th, right? Whatever damage happened, if you drive along that river, there are parts that still have that damage going on. And then So after I visited with Trissa, we visited another family. And I remember I happened to be there when we started this project. I'll be honest, I stood there, I was working with the youth group, and I looked at this structure and I didn't have the background. I didn't know what the project was. And just looking at it, to say that it was just studs is overstating what was left. I had no idea what was there. You fast forward, I was at that same site yesterday. I could not believe my eyes.
Wow.
Literally, in 90 days, we constructed a simple house. And 90 to 95% of that construction was done by people who are younger than 25. Most of them were like in high school. And so there are parts that, yes, are completely untouched, but there are other parts that are rapidly changing. I mean, when we get to a project, we want to knock the project out as quickly and as effectively as possible. And I know that we're not alone. And so we want to get people back into their homes, back on their feet. We all love the hill country for whether you love going down there to hunt, whether you love the antiques, you love the peaches, whatever it is, we all love the hill country and we want to see it thrive again.
Absolutely. Is there anything else I'm not leaving out that you think is important? It's a year later, and the fact that, it's important to remember. I was also at a memorial wall, and they're
Mm.
hoping that, this wall is a way for people to deal with the past, but also to bring hope in the future, kind of. And so, is there like how do you offer encouragement to people then versus now, which sometimes could be more difficult now?
It's actually interesting you brought it up. As I talked to some of the families, obviously this is July 4th weekend. July 4th is always a big deal in Kirk County. Um, there was kind of two camps in the families. Some of them were going to go to all the events. Let's go see fireworks. I think they're doing a big drone show. They've got a lot of community oriented events, and some were all in. Let's go to all of them. Others were, we are going to stay home. We're going to get out of town. Like, just give us this weekend to kind of be with our loved ones. Let's circle the wagons here. Let's hug on the ones we love. Let's try not to relive this thing for this 75th time. Let's just try to be together and enjoy each other's company. And so even now, people want to tell their story. Even now, they want to be prayed with. Um, and so that's what we do. Well, while we're bringing in hammers and we're bringing in equipment and framing teams and all this kind of stuff, It's not really about that for us. It never is. It's about the people that we serve. It's about reminding them that they're not alone, that there are people who care about them, that God cares about them. And together, we're going to push forward. Whatever that looks like, we're going to take the next step and we're going to do it together.